Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, I was just sitting here, diligently and happily preparing some of the made content for True School Sports. It's going to be a big month here on the channel, so you guys stay tuned for everything coming out. And I was scrolling, I was on Instagram, I was, just looking at the news and stuff, and as you can see on the screen, this is what I've seen. An article from ESPN.com talking about Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua negotiations being underway for that potential undisputed fight. Now, before we get into what was stated in this article and I give my little opinions, my little 2 cents, let me just first start off by saying that this is a fight that has to happen ASAP for boxing, because now with the coronavirus pandemic going on, it's pushed this fight back even more. So I think that the sooner this fight happens, the better. And there's definitely going to be a lot of roadblocks to get this over the line. So let's get into it. Let's get into what was reported in this article. Now, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. It says right here, negotiations are underway for a potential blockbuster heavyweight title fight. Of course, and I'll get to this later on in the video. It can't be in America. No, it has to be in the Arabian Peninsula, because God forbid it was in America. We know. I have my opinions on Anthony Joshua not being able to handle fighting on the big stage in America, but that is neither here or there. It'll happen somewhere in Saudi Arabia because they're going to pay the most money. Ultimately, boxing is a business, and whoever pays the most money, that's who's going to get the fight. Now, obviously, for those of us who follow boxing on a day-to-day basis, we know that Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing promoter, he doesn't have the best of relationships with Frank Warren, who is Tyson Fury's promoter of Queensberry Promotions. So MTK Global has stepped in, and they're actually negotiating with Eddie Hearn and all parties involved. And they're awaiting an offer from Saudi Arabia, from the promoters in Saudi Arabia, for this potential fight. So, there's things happening in regards to this fight. I think that's good news for boxing fans. Obviously, one issue that would need to be taken care of in this particular fight would be that they would have to pay not just Fury and Joshua enough money to make the fight happen, but they're going to have to pay Deontay Wilder enough step-aside money. And I would even say Kubrat Pulev enough step-aside money for this to be feasible, because we got to remember, it's Deontay Wilder's, whether we want to see the third fight or not, it is Deontay Wilder's contractual right to fight Tyson Fury for a third fight, and he did exercise the rematch clause, and they were anticipating it to happen later on this year. So he's entitled to that in terms of legally speaking. And the same thing with Pulev. He was supposed to fight Anthony Joshua on June the 20th, and that got scrapped because of the coronavirus, and he was supposed to fight him in 2018, and that got scrapped because he got injured. So, Pulev is itching to get in there with Joshua, and you can't, I wouldn't be led to believe that he would step aside for this fight unless the money was just out of this world ridiculous. So, there's a lot of moving parts here. But here's what Shelly Finkel said in response to all this mumbo jumbo from Mark Kriegel and ESPN. Here's what Shelly Finkel, Deontay Wilder manager, said in regards to that. He said, I quote, as far as we're concerned, the next fight for Wilder is the third fight with Fury, Finkel told ESPN. And that's just what it was. Eddie Hearn also chimed in on what's going on with the whole negotiation for this fight, saying that we're talking to MTK about where that fight would take place. At the moment, the main focus is for everybody is the contractual situations. The conversations between myself and MTK are that we've had an approach. We've had a number of approaches from territories to stage that fight. So the only discussions at the moment where this fight takes place, we don't even know when this fight could take place. We're certainly open to have discussions about the possibility of having this fight, of this happening this year or in the next fight. Aram chimed in by saying, I quote, let's see what type of offers we get from the Middle East, because there is a real frenzy with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, with the Emirates to do events to open up these countries in the winter and into next year. It would be foolish for us not to consider those types of offers. And then, as Fury said when contacted by ESPN, I'll fight in Timbuktu if the money's right. I have a bag and I will travel. So we've covered all the bases here on True School Sports. And listen, this is a fight that boxing needs. This is a fight that obviously I've talked about at nauseum, at length here on True School Sports. Obviously I made my opinions very clear that I just don't think Anthony Joshua will beat Tyson Fury, and I don't think it's much of a competitive fight. And I really want to see this fight. And whether you think Fury's going to win or Joshua's going to win, no matter which way we stand, for the health of boxing, for the sake of boxing, and for the popularity of boxing, for it to continue to grow, we need to get an undisputed champion. We need a guy, whether it's Joshua or Fury, we need a guy that we can point to and say, that guy isn't just a heavyweight champion of the world, but he's the heavyweight champion of the world. You see what I'm saying? So this fight is of massive importance. Now, going to the Wilder Pulev side of things, I pulled this article that was just dropped on BoxingScene.com. Shout out to the fine folks over at BoxingScene.com. You've had Pulev's people chime in on this. You've had, just all kinds of people chiming in on this. And I wanted to get to what Pulev's people said in regards to this. Where we at? Here we go. So Ivalio Gotsev, CEO of Epic Sports, who is Pulev's co-promoter along with Top Rank, says, I quote, "The clause was covered very well. There's no way out. Even though Joshua keeps looking for new ways to avoid us, we have exercised our right to fight for the title. We've been waiting for years. We understand that that a fight with Fury and Joshua is big for the United Kingdom. The last we checked, we do not live under a newly established British Empire. Let's all just do the right thing and move forward with the fights we have in writing. After Anthony loses to Kubrat, he can go fight whoever wants." So obviously, this is definitely a power play by Kubrat Pulev's people to stick their chests out and get what they feel they're owed. And that's a big Anthony Joshua fight and a massive Anthony Joshua payday. But, speaking on behalf of all boxing fans and speaking directly to the teams of Pulev and Deontay Wilder, let me just say this. All right, you guys go ahead and negotiate what you want as far as step aside money. Negotiate it, play your hardball. But if Joshua, Fury, MTK Global, Matchroom Boxing are able to meet your demands, please step aside and move your asses out the way, because boxing fans, we want to see this fight. The people want to see this fight. This fight has to happen. It's a massive importance. And I think that if Wilder's team and Pulev's team, if they had any sort of intelligence to them, they should find out to work out a deal to where they get some sort of step-aside money and they get a guaranteed fight against whoever wins the undisputed fight, or maybe they can fight each other. Maybe they get a fight. Maybe they get their step-aside money, and maybe they can work out a deal where they fight each other as an eliminator to see who fights Wilder Joshua winner for undisputed first, and then even the loser could get the second crack at the undisputed title. I feel like there is a way around all this. There is a way. Well, where there is a will and where there is a way, and if all parties involved, if Hearn, Warren, MTK Global, Shelly Finkel, and Mr. Ivalio Gotsev, if these guys can put their egos and check them out the door and think about not just their pockets, which I know isn't very important because you can't pay bills with titles at the end of the day when you retire, but if they can just think beyond their pockets and think about boxing and the fans and get creative, get what you want, get what you feel you deserve in terms of money, but still give the fans what they want and get what you want too. There's a way that everybody can win here. I know this is probably me being very optimistic because I know boxing people, I know how these promoters and these managers and people think it's very hard. It's very hard to get these deals done. And a lot of times these people don't want to put their egos aside. But I think for the greater good of boxing, Pulev and Wilder should step aside and get the money they deserve. Get good money. They deserve to step aside. They can take an interim fight in the meantime, or they can fight each other to figure out who fights Joshua and Fury for the undisputed once that's settled. I think that's the way that should happen in a perfect world, but I know we don't live in a perfect world. But that's the news. Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua are in fact negotiating a fight for undisputed in the Arabian Peninsula. So make of that what you will. Personally, I think it should be in America at the MGM Grand. But I know money talks and bullshit walks. So if the fine folks in the Arabian Peninsula are going to put up the most money, hey, then to hell with America. Gotta go five in the Middle East and get that Arab money. So with that being said, you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dingus. So until next time, take care, guys.